So I did it for 5 years, and then I was just bonkers, man. I had, I was kind of had no mental, and you just bouncing off the walls. Just don't be eating vegan and you're starving. You're always hungry. You're always thinking about food, and you're in the kitchen. Oh my God, that stuff takes forever.
Bridgette, how did you find Carnivore?
Hey, Dave. It's so good to see you again. And I know I've done this before, but so yes, I love your question. And so here's my story. I have been into nutrition and food a lot all my life. And when I got married in 81, there's 21 when I was 21 and got married in 1981, I was all about, which is how I was raised, to take care of the husband and make the beautiful foods and be a beautiful wife. And, so I would get all the cookbooks, Southern living especially, and I would just make these amazing meals, when I was learning how to cook and I was a young wife. And so I just love that. And that evolved. And then I've also been into exercise. So I always taught exercise. It started out with calisthenics before aerobics was even, so I'm a little bit older. So this is before aerobics was even knew about. We were doing calisthenics in 78 was when I started teaching. I was helping my sister, and that's when you did like the Lottie Burt method or the Arden's Inn method. And these are all old classes where it's calisthenics, leg lifts and leg circles and, not aerobics or anything. But then, so I was teaching, and then I got into aerobics, and then I got into step aerobics, and then I got my personal training license, and I was not a bodybuilder, personal trainer. And then I went into, so I did that for until I wish I would have wrote down the dates on that. So 78 to got married in 81, so like 90, when I slowly started getting into yoga. But I mean, that's been my journey. I've always been in exercise. So I was always into nutrition. And then I got, and back in like 81 and like 85, or I started selling Shaklee vitamins. And that's all about nutrition, And so I thought it was the best thing, the alfalfa tablets and the protein powder. And then they had these great organic cleaning products. And so I've always been into it, always. And some things worked for a while, but also I think a big part, when you think back, it's like, well, I didn't know the food was hurting me then, but maybe it's because we were younger, and we are so much stronger when we're younger, and all of that. So, but I never, ever, ever felt comfortable about my weight. I always had a pudge. As hard as I would work out, and then maybe there would be a little bit of a time, maybe like 2 weeks, where I'd be like, damn, I finally got there. And I want to reach out to all the women, because if they're like me, we want to be beautiful for our men, especially when you're young. And when you're pudgy, or you have it's such a, and I just want to say, this is it. Carnivore, for the first time in my life, when I found out about this and started eating this way, I could wrap my arms around my waist and feel my ribs. And this is how I meditate now, because I am just like, holy crap, I am 64. And for so many years, I never felt good. And now I'm just like, it feels good to be able to feel my ribs and not feel uncomfortable in my body, not feel pudgy, and not feel, and that's how I did for years. And I was young, and I was a trainer, and I was working hard. I would do like 2 or 3 classes a day. And it's because I could too. But then I'd be starving. And then I'd go get maybe saltines. And I would eat a whole sleeve of saltines. And they ain't little. Those saltines, here's my window. It would be, those bags were big. We made that long box of saltines, I would eat the whole thing, and then I'd feel bad. So then I'd go out and run again or something. And I know that's what a lot of females are doing, because, the advertising and the, whatever makes us feel Plus, what we're shoving in our mouths is not making us what we want, you know? So now at 64, the first thing I noticed was the muscles in my arms, and I'm not working out. And I'm like, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. So, I mean, it has been this journey has been such an eye opener. And, I've done many things, but I'm not afraid to say, well, that didn't work, or I've grown out of that one, or, I'm trying this one. But a lot of my friends are like, oh God, there she goes again, because I definitely have tried a lot of things. I was vegetarian for many years with my ex-husband, and maybe I always said that's why he divorced me, because I used to make great food with the creams and the butter and that's what makes everything taste good, and the sugar. And then it was like vegetarian and quit eating the butter, and so then I quit cooking like that, and my food tasted like shit. It doesn't taste that good. You've got to have butter and cream and sugar to make broccoli or some vegetarian stupid meal you're trying to make it taste like real meat food. And and so went through that phase, and and then he was like, I'm out of here, you can't cook anymore, so so then I went vegan. So from, oh God, what was the date? So from 20, I don't know, but I went vegan. And I even went down to, so in 2011, I moved back to the area that I'm moving to now. And I rented my house for 5 years, and I was vegan. Like, so that was 2010, 2009. So those years I was vegan, and I was doing gourmet meals, and I taught yoga classes out of my home. So people would come, and I was like, here, try my dehydrated crackers, or try my cheesecake made out of cashews and almonds for the crust. And I sold my cheesecakes at the health food store. I mean, I was big for like a year. So I did that. And so then when I came down here, I was turning 50. I was close to my 50s. So 2011. And I was starting to go through menopause. And let me tell you, that'll knock you, especially if you're not eating right. So I went down to Hippocrates in Miami. And that's with Ann Wigmore, was the first one that created this, where you drink sprout juice, and sunflower sprouts, and how powerful they are, and the live enzymes, and they just heal your body. And at Hippocrates, all these people do go down there, and they're deathly ill. And they do heal some people, but I think it's healing them because they're getting off the crap. I think that's what it's a detox. They've gotten off the crap. They've been on the crap for 40 years. So then they get off, and then they're like, I'm healed, and it's like, because the body's like saying, thank you, God, at least you got the sugar in that, but then they're doing sprouts, and after a while you just start to deteriorate, as we know now, that it doesn't serve you. So I did it for 5 years, and then I was just bonkers, man. I had, I was kind of had no mental, and you just bouncing off the walls. Just don't eating vegan and you're starving. You're always hungry. You're always thinking about food, and you're in the kitchen. Oh my God, that stuff takes forever. You would make the noodles out of you would grind up zucchini through this I had to buy I've got the things, I'm selling them. Anybody want my damn zucchini grinder? You can have it. So you put the zucchini in there, and you grind it. It comes out like noodles, and then you make this crap, I want to say, out of sun-dried tomatoes, and put it in the blender and blend it up, and that's supposed to heat it, and that's your pasta sauce.
How was the cheesecake made out of nuts?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, it's truly amazing how these people figured it out. I mean, that's a craft to learn how to make that stuff taste good. And it had a ton of dates, and maple syrup is our sugar. You think, oh, I'm eating dates. It's a date. It's not, it's sugar, and it messes you up. But you would so the crust would be almonds with dates. So it'd make it sticky, blend it up, and then you could squish it in the pan like a graham cracker crust. Then you would blend up cashews, but you got to soak the cashews, and you have to soak the almonds. I mean, give me a break. You got to soak the almonds overnight, soak the cashews. I mean, this stuff is work. And then you would blend up the cashews, and you would put different flavorings. And then if you were doing a chocolate cheesecake, you would put the raw cacao, you know, the superfoods and the, you know, whatever else went in there, vanilla. And I made something that tasted like caramel. I've even forgotten what we did. Oh, I think it was yucca, not yucca. There's a superfood that's anyway, it would taste like caramel. You would drizzle that on top. They were truly beautiful, and they stayed cold, so you would freeze them. But you know, cashews. I eat no nuts now. I used to. And the other thing, like there was this one delicious salad dressing that I make because you know you make the big salads if you're vegan. That's all you're eating is stupid greens. And so I'd make this salad dressing that was made out of sunflowers sunflowers and you would blend it up and then you would put a little bit of flaxseed oil and I want to say maybe another type of oil, probably olive oil, I want to say. And you would blend this up. It was so good tasting. It almost tasted like a Caesar salad dressing. Had that because I think the flaxseed kind of made it taste. It was truly delicious. There was sugar in it and there was seed oils in it. And it's like people always say, oh, this is so good. Well, it's so good because it's got fruit or sugar or, you know, that's why it's so good. It's not the food itself. Take all that dressing out and it's just raw spinach, nasty, you know? So it's
Y-
all those flavors. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's
what was it that kind of moved you from that point to going, I need to investigate this carnivore thing?
So I got off being vegan and I was just eating regular and I eat pretty well, but I just never felt good. I think that's why. And I think I listened to people like you and Patrick Timpone, who was his radio station was oneradionetwork.com. And he's not with us anymore. And he passed away, was it last year? I don't know. He passed away just not long ago. We all loved him. Everybody that listened to him, follow him. He was just the most, you should listen to some of his interviews, I think are still out there. And he was number one, a health nut. And he owned a health food store, or, yeah. And he also made his own tomato sauce at one time. And now they sell it. He sold it. And so it's called either grandma's or mama's tomato sauce or something like that. So he sold it and his recipe's still out there, but he would travel around to find the best tomatoes. But anyway, he had been podcasting it was radio. It wasn't, you know, and he had been doing it for years and he was very good at it. And he always loved to interview the most unique and people that were not doing the people that were smart and doing the right thing, but not what everybody else was doing. You know what I mean? So that's why we all love to listen to him because whoever he brought on was somebody that woke us up to another thing. When I first started listening to him, which was like in 2000, that's the first time I woke up about how corrupt our government was by listening to these people. And I was just like, I thought they were like, you know, I thought I believed in them at one time. So listening to him, and then I started researching, and he interviewed people about carnivore way back in like 2017, 2018, 2019, because he's always on the cutting edge of what's the next thing. And he was big into wanting to be healthy himself. And I think he was healthy, but he was always trying to push where, you know, can it go any further? And so that's the first time I've heard it. When I heard it, I was like, you know, of course, it was like, oh, really? I mean, whoa, you know, and so then it starts turning. And then I started listening to more and more. And then I jumped in. When I jumped in, if you want to know, when I first jumped in was when I heard Ken Berry interview uh, your zero carb life.
Kelly Hogan.
Kelly Hogan. And it was the interview where he kept building it up because he was like, you ain't gonna believe what this girl looks like. She's been eating just meat for 15 years, you know, and that's what I wanted to hear because I was like, all right, if this is true, show me somebody that's been doing it for a while, you know. And everybody had just been started, you know, and and he kept building it up. She never came on because she was running late or something, and he's so funny. It was great. And when she came on, she's this beautiful well-spoken mama that has children. She's had babies on Carnivore, and she was just, and she is great. And you should, whoever's listening, you should definitely go to her channel and listen to her and get on her. But when that died, I just jumped in. So and that's one thing I wanted to say is I'm like an intuitive, a lot, kind of an intuitive person where I don't get it from books. I don't. It's like I get a hit. It's like this makes sense, and then I try it, and then I see, does it make sense? To my body, and does it work? And so that's all I needed. Now I kept listening, and then I kept doing it. I want to say 2000. I may have started a little sooner than that, but I'm gonna just say I started in 2000 because I don't keep up with things. I don't weigh myself. I don't measure how many times, how long I've walked. I think that is so unintuitive. We've had all these machines now telling us you need to walk 3 more miles to get your 100 and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, people, it takes you away from feeling your body, what's true for you. I just think it's because everybody's different. Just because you walk 3 miles doesn't mean my body needs to walk 3 miles today. Maybe not. So I'm big into and that's what I think the carnivore does is it wakes you up to feeling your body. When you put that after you've been on meat for a while and nothing else, and then you eat that chocolate bar, which I've done a couple times, it tells you feel it. You wake up. It's like,
It's
shit, I am so sorry. And I apologize to my body. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I just wanted that 10 minutes of pleasure in my mouth. And then I am so sorry. I won't do it again. I promise. And I've lied a
it's
couple times, but
it's interesting you talk about the intuitiveness.
yes,
So I'm someone that I'm opposite in that I do keep records of things, but I think the big decisions that I've made that I've ended up being happy with do come down to just it feels right.
that's the
And
way it's
that's
supposed to be.
yeah, like
We have
finding Carnivore.
amazing, we are amazing, powerful human beings. We are magical. We can do and be whatever you want to be, but the world dumbs us down. And the more that you have to look at something to ask to see if it's right for you, it's pulling you away more and more to your true essence. There's another guy that I just started following that has changed my life, and I'm gonna uh, praise his. His name is Joey Lott. I don't know how to say that. I want to let everybody know Lott, and he's a spiritual guy. And I've been a self-help spiritual kind of girl. It's just been my journey. I love it. I read The Power of Now way back, and some people say I can't even read that, and boy, I could read it, and it just resonated with me. So everybody's different, right? But this guy, man, he's got it. He has the answers. If you And so I can't praise him enough. And I started listening to him, and it's all about, he always says to everybody, and he's getting more and more popular. So I really don't want him to get so popular because, but he'll have people ask him questions, and they'll be real distraught in their minds, and he can take them there without saying a word. I mean, without, all he just says is, well, what do you want? And that's one of his biggest questions is, what do you truly want? And I didn't know that. I haven't known that for so long. Everybody would say, what do you want? And I'm like, well, I like everything. I can be happy with, I'm that kind of person. So I've always said, I can be pretty happy. And I don't want to be beat on or anything stupid. But I don't want to be in pain. I'm pretty Whereas I have a sister, she pretty much knows what she wants, and she ain't flexible much. I love her, and I love her that she has that, and I'm like, I don't have that. So we're all different, but he's wonderful. And if you're searching to find yourself and to find your powers inside, and if you know that if you're that kind of person that, I highly recommend him. He's a beautiful, beautiful man, and when you hear him take people from that are distraught, and you can see it, the people they like exhale, they're like stressed and worried and unhappy, and then and then they like, you can see it. He takes that away by his way of guiding them, but he doesn't say, it's not like, oh, you're doing this wrong, or you got to do this. It's nothing. He helps them figure it out. And I love that.
Yeah. So the way you're eating now, is that also intuitive? Like, are you just eating when you're
Hey,
hungry?
no, when I'm hungry, I eat. And when I'm not, I I still might eat. So I do want to say I'm an addict. I am an addict. I am a food addict. I am a sugar and carb addict. And sometimes I just want to pig out. For some reason I feel like I need more. So I just, if I do, then I'm pigging out on a steak or two, you know. And when I first started, sometimes I would say, I'm still hungry. So I would just make another steak because I was like, what else am I going to eat? I don't want to eat anything else. You know, I want to see how long I can do this. And what is it? Because you know, it's done so many amazing things. I'm like, I don't want to mess this up. And I do mess it up every once in a while, but, so I'll just overeat on that and it doesn't hurt you. You know, you may be full, but I don't gain weight. If I had picked out on candy bars, I would be, you know, see it. But what's so interesting, if you're just eating beef and bacon and eggs, and you know, you really can't pig out too much on eggs. Eggs, you're like, oh, but beef, I can kind of keep eating. I love it. You know, bacon, I can, you know. So, um, I'm working on that to quit that habit of eating too much. But I am intuitive. I don't go by anything. If I, so sometimes I wake up and I'm not, like the other day I woke up, I made my food. I wasn't even hungry. I am drinking coffee and cream, and sometimes I put butter in it. I went out and worked in the yard because I'm in my new yard and I'm just loving working in my gardens. I'm a gardener. And, I was like, I know it's getting late. And I bet it's about 3 o'clock or something. I came in, it's like 5 o'clock. And I had been out there all day. I had just taken a few water breaks, you know, and I didn't look at, and I just had the best day. And I just kept on, kept on, kept on. I'm kicking ass and I wasn't even hungry, you know. And then I come home and I'm exhausted, or I come inside and I'm exhausted. And I had that meat in the pot and it was perfectly cooked because I cooked it and then I put the top on and turned it off and let it just sit on the oven, you know, on the heater a little bit. And it was perfect. Then I was hungry. So then I ate, you know what I mean? So I'm all about, because it changes. It's always changing for me. Sometimes I eat in the morning, sometimes I eat midday, sometimes I'm like a 2 or 3 o'clock a day eater, and then I don't eat anything else. And sometimes I eat more later. It it just depends. You're
Yeah.
like strict. You're like you're like a disciplined military. I'm the
In a,
opposite.
yeah, in a way, it's only because I feel a bit odd if I don't have breakfast. But um, yeah, if I feel hungry later in the day, I'll eat again. You know, I don't have a strict rule that I can't eat or anything like that.
Yeah,
But
good.
um, what are some of the changes? You mentioned weight loss, but what are some of the changes that you've experienced?
Just today. So I was trying to make a list. I was trying to think of, like, I don't want to think about, I want to remember good things to say because you've had such amazing people on and so many amazing things are healing. And it's not, I've always been pretty healthy, you know, and I'm kind of a pretty optimistic person. So, you know, but I've had my times. So I'm not perfect, and I'm not, you know, I've never been deadly sick like some of these people, you know. I'm just like, oh my God, they've got their life back. But so I was making a list, and I was like, because I've always had this one eye, my left eye never is always blurry. I have astigmatism in both eyes, but I noticed since I've been on Carnivore, my eyes have gotten better. My night sight has gotten better because I have glasses to wear at night, but I don't even. I do wear them, but I put them on and I lift it up, and I'm like, do I need them? I really don't need them, you know. And I do that because you know, but I keep them at night. But I was reading and I closed this eye, and usually it's blurry. It's not even blurry anymore. I was like, oh my God, I can write that one down too. I was like, and that just happened. I'm like, because not long ago I was like closing, I was like, God, that eye's really blurry. And now it's not. I'm like, whoa. So I don't wear glasses. I have them. They are like about 10 years old. I mean, they're broken and they're, I really, I guess I should go back, but I don't want to. I need to have something just to have in case I do need it. But, you know, if it's raining when I'm driving. So I've got them, but my eyes, so my eyes are just amazing. Just And the most amazing thing, I don't fart. I don't. That I used to fart all the time because I always used to make a lot of beans because I was like the bean queen. I mean, I would make lentils, I'd soak them overnight and then sprout them and then cook them. You know, all the beans, red beans. And I'd have potlucks and I'd make the beans because that's easy and that's a lot you can feed the people. Then I made bread. So then I would have beans and bread and oh my God. So I farted a lot.
I guess a lot of cashews as well. That's probably not good either, right?
No, no. They say cashews are poisonous. I don't know. But yeah. And so I don't, it's not like I would always say, number one, and that's another thing I wanted to say. So I'm glad you keep bringing this up. When you go carnivore, you do not poop as much. And when you initially go carnivore, you're going to have diarrhea for at least 2 weeks. I had diarrhea for 2 or 3 weeks but I wasn't afraid of it. So many people are afraid. They're like, oh God, I can't go through that. People think diarrhea or having a change in your body is a scary thing, or it's like a disease, or it's like it's it's a great thing for you to have a change in your body like that, and your body's changing and it's getting stuff out, and I'm like, cool, keep going, whatever you need to do. I'm with you. So I want to help people change their concept about it's a natural thing. And you can just look at animals when they eat something that ain't good for them, they're going to have diarrhea and they're going to get it out. And then so it didn't bother me. But when I stopped putting sugar in my coffee, which was my last thing I had to do, which was hard because I loved my coffee and sugar, um, stopped like that. Like the next day, I was like, whoa. People were saying it and I wasn't ready for it. And then finally, when I could do it, I was like, whoa. And then my coffee tasted like shit. But
So have you given the coffee away?
no, I didn't. I'm still doing coffee. And I wanted to ask you, how are you without it?
Much more, but it's good. Like I sleep better and I've got
Okay, well, wait, I'm sorry, I'm going to
better
interrupt you.
concentration.
When did you drink coffee right before you went to sleep?
I drank coffee all the time.
So
Always.
you would drink it later in the day.
Yeah.
Well, did you ever try just cutting it out later in the day?
No, I can't because that would be like saying only smoke one cigarette, only have one small glass of wine or something like that. It's all or nothing.
Okay. And I'm kind of like that too, but got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you say it makes you sleep better because you're not drinking it at night. Okay. What else? Is it good?
Um, and kind of when I'm thinking about things, trying to focus on things, that's much easier. But
Okay.
uh, um, but that's taken time. That wasn't straight away. Like straight away, I had a lot of brain fog. When I gave up coffee. But I'm still, if I'm just sitting there watching the TV or something like that, I'm like a narcolepsy, like I'm like a narcoleptic. I just like suddenly, fall asleep. So I think I've got a lot of sleep debt because of the fact I've been drinking coffee so heavily for basically my whole life. So yeah, I have to be doing something. I miss psychological things about it, like having that warm coffee and whatever. But I can compensate for that by having boiled water with salt in it.
Do you ever put butter in your salt? I mean, butter in your coffee with your salt
I haven't tried that. I have. That's something I need to try.
if you want. Um,
Hmm.
and I keep telling myself because I am a coffee poo and I drink it all day. I do try to stop about 3 o'clock. But I might only have like 3 cups. But I'm kind of sipping on it all. I roast my own beans, have a little roaster. It's the
Uh,
ceremony of it. It's the
yeah,
wake up and
it is.
start that coffee first thing. It's like a celebration. Woo! Another day, let's get our coffee. And So yeah, because I quit drinking. Drinking was easy. I know you stopped, and I know you were a little maybe more obsessive than I, but I was a drinker, not a big drinker, a weekend drinker, you know? I mean, there's been times when I was all week drinker, but I mean, when I started carnivore, I'm sure I had weaned off a lot of being too crazy with drinking, and but it just went away. It just was like, this doesn't taste good. I would taste some wine, I was just be like, ew. So every once in a while, I tried like if I have white wine, it's not as bad as red wine, it seems like. And if I have like a little gin and tonic, I used to be a tequila drinker and I don't even like that anymore. So, and I really don't even like to drink anymore because it does make me feel bad, even if I just have one little drink. Like sometimes I go somewhere and I'm like, I'm just going to be social or just try to fit in or, you know, so I'll get a little, I did that like a month ago. I went and I had a little, oh, you know where I went? You know what's here? In my new place that I'm moving is the Villages. Have you heard of the Villages? It's this old farts home, a place where it's millions of the oldest people in the world. But they have tons of golf courses. All the houses look like the same, you know, but they have different little sections, and each section has a square, and they have music every night. And I'm a dancer. I love to just go and dance just by myself or whoever wants to dance with me if they can keep up. But uh, I went and, you know, and it was so great because it's a big area, you know, and all these old farts. I mean, this one man came up, like a song came on, he was excited about, but he could hardly walk, you know, because he was like ancient. And but he got out there and he did his thing, you know, and I was just like, good on you, you know. It was kind of scary. I was like, oh my God, is he gonna fall down? You know, but it's if you look up the Villages, it's like the biggest. They started it here in Leesburg, Florida, and people come from all over, and it is fun. And I'm thrilled that now I have a place that I could go dancing every night if I wanted to. And before you'd only go on like Thursday night or Friday night when there's good music. You know, they have good music every night. And some of those old farts can really dance. So I'm gonna find me an old one that can dance.
So you've got a lot of energy. Is that something that has increased on carnivore, or have you always had this kind of energy?
I've always been fun, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it is. But no, I've not. But a carnivore is just taking it to another level. I'm bouncing off the walls these days. It's made me feel so good in my body, and that's what you know. When after I'd been on it for like 2 weeks, I remember that day I woke up and I was just like, it was just like, and I've heard some of your people say, I just felt so good. It's like euphoric. You're just like whoa, you just love yourself, which is the main thing. Because so many of us have that, I don't feel good enough, or I'm not good enough, or, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I had that. I had that for years. And my sisters, you know, I would had this, I'm not good enough because I'm not a book studier. That's why I'm in the body more. And that's why I'm a gardener because I'm good. I'm intuitive. I'm better at that than don't give me a test. I'll flunk it, man. I am not uh, book smart or any of that. But when you do this diet, and so I didn't feel good about myself because, you know, but wow, when you finally get all that stuff out of you, there's a euphoria that comes on. And then we get used to it. So then we're like, I guess I've still got it, you know, I don't, you know, but uh, it's quadrupled. I think I've always had good energy, you know, because I teach exercise and stuff. So you got to have kind of be a up person to do that. I think, you know. And I danced when I was younger. I was a little ballerina dancer, and but I definitely think it does. Yeah, I'm happy. I feel good. I'm not eating crap, so I'm not depressed, and I don't feel bad. And until I eat a candy bar, a chocolate bar or something, then I have to slap myself.
Right. So with your teaching, you're obviously in contact with lots of people. Do you ever talk to them about carnivore, and how receptive are people to it?
So since I've been on it, I've definitely talked to a lot of people about it, and some people are open and some people aren't. Most people aren't, which is so sad. But a exciting thing happened to me yesterday where one of my friends, known her for a long time, got a phone call from her and she was like, Bridget, you got a moment? I'm like, yeah. And she was like, I want to talk to you about carnivore. And I'm like, okay. And she was like, I'm going to do it. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited for you. But for 4 years, and I've been flapping my lips, they were just like, okay, that's what you're doing. You're crazy. Get out of my face. Some people do, but I mean, like I have family members, they're like, ah, yeah, that's great. And God, you're looking really good and everything. And then they go back and drink their drinks and eat their Brussels sprouts. I don't know. It's sad. I think it's sad, but I can't think that way. I just have to trust they'll come to it when it's right because you are doing an amazing job to help people realize it ain't just me. It ain't just, Dave Mack. It's not just Dr. Barry. Man, it's everybody that comes to it, that sticks to it, is changed in a good way. It's beautiful.
So it's been about 4 years for you, right?
Not funny, but now I don't want to say I wasn't strict. The more you do it every year or every month, you get better at it, right?
Right, right.
So it's been, because I would go out with friends and we'd all, I'd get, okay, I'm going to get a hamburger and french fries, and I would eat it. And sometimes I'd be okay. And sometimes I'd feel bad, and every time I learn. Again, I think carnivore is such a blessing to all of us because it's waking us up to, again, being intuitive, wake up to what's true for your body. You learn how to feel. The work that I do, it's neuro movement, and it's about feeling. The only way to learn something new is to slow down, and the only way you can feel is to slow down and truly tune in and move in the body. And does that hurt? If that hurts, don't do it. We're not supposed to hurt ourselves. If you eat that food and it hurts, don't do it. Change it. Find what feels good. And it's meat. Red meat's the only thing that I feel the best on. I've done pork. I mean, yeah, I've done pork. I got rid of chicken a long time ago. I got rid of chicken when I was a vegan. I would eat chicken and it'd just be like, ugh. So I just never liked chicken after that. And but I tried pork and it's okay. I do ribs and they're okay. But red meat does me right. And so I like red meat, bacon, eggs. I've done less eggs lately, but I like eggs, butter. I'm getting ready to get some tallow. There's a butcher here. They did this most amazing meat. I was like, oh my God, what was that? Give me some more. And it was like like a Salisbury steak. It was strips of steak, but inside it was this beef. Here's my hands. Was this white tallow inside and when you would put it in the pan, it was like all stuck together. So it kind of come apart. And I went back and I was like, what was that? What was that fat? That was the most amazing tasting fat I've ever tasted. And he's getting me a thing of tallow. So I hadn't got it. I think I'll just get it today, maybe. So I can tell you what it is, but I don't know yet. But it was from a butcher in this area. I mean, a farmer in this area. But beef is
Nice.
the best to me.
So this is the way forward for you. There's no going back.
No. Now, if I want to have a drink because I just want to go out dancing and I want to feel comfortable, I will. But what's so great is it's not about getting drunk anymore. I mean, we used to like to get drunk. About when I was 21, and I used to have these hidden parties with all these girls, and it's just a way to come over and dress up crazy and drink. We would drink. I mean, my God, thank God we were young. So no, absolutely. And I want to surround myself with people that eat this way because it's not that bad to be around other people, but it's definitely different. And it's fun when people are on the same page because then, you don't have to watch them eat that stuff and know that it's going to hurt them.
Right. So can you can you tell us a little bit about the neuro movement that you mentioned just before? Like, how does that work?
So it's based on Feldenkrais work, and that's the book I was looking for because I wanted to be able to speak right about it. But it's based on Feldenkrais work, and he was around in 30s and 40s when Joseph Pilates was around. I did the Pilates training, and I've done a couple of yoga trainings. I was able to study with beautiful yoga instructors and teachers and masters, I guess you could call them. And then I found Anat Banyel, and she is taken over Feldenkrais's work, and it's called the Anat Banyel method. And you can go ABM, and I think plug that in, and you can find it. And I do have the one book. So one of her books, isn't the one. This isn't the one. Is this is so funny. Kids Beyond Limits. So she helps so many children, and then her name should be there. Where is it? There. Anat Banyel, Kids Beyond Limits. But the other book was called sort of like Dancing with Life, which is what my email is. It's not Dancing with Life, Walking into Life or something like that. But she takes children that are brain dead and brings them back to life by movement. And one of the, I think it's what Feldenkrais said, is the body can do nothing until you move. So until you move, I mean, maybe just move an arm or blink an eye, but until you move, the body has no information. But every movement gives our body information. And so when you do this movement, so like you'll move and then you always stop and rest. And in that resting time is when the magic happens, because it's giving the brain time. It's like saying, okay, she did this, and now the bones are here and there, and now we can put her back in place, And then all of a sudden, you do these gentle, it's all about being gentle, not pushing or shoving. So she's changed the way therapy goes, because I've had surgery on my knee. They used to like help push my knee to help bend it again because I was in a cast. I tore my ligaments, and you go to therapy and then you can't bend it, It's been straight in that cast for 6 months. And so they try to help you to push it, and it hurts. And she's like, you don't have to go that way. You can do it another way by feeling and being gentle and changing it up. Variation. If you brush your teeth with your left hand, you should try it with your right hand, because that's going to bring in all different kind of neurotransmitters, and that's the idea. Bring variation in, go slow, feel everything. And so that's why I love the carnivore, because it makes you feel your body again. We've stopped feeling. Somebody breaks your heart. You're in love and you're 21 and you're stupid, but somebody breaks your heart. And so then you're like, I won't ever love again. Or you put these walls up and then you're tight in there and you don't even realize it. So one of the movements that we do is, so what's so interesting is the pelvis bone is connected to the spine, and the spine goes all the way up and is connected to the head. So the head, then the spine, and then the pelvis bone, right? Got it? And then you've got these ribs, these 12 sets of ribs that wrap around. Ribs come all the way up underneath your arms and wrap around your collarbone, but then there's a rib right there. You can feel there's a space and a rib, and then a space and then a rib. All those ribs scrunch down and open up like a accordion. And so you're not thinking about moving that way. So like even to the side. So we don't necessarily bend to the side, but if you're bending to the side, are you thinking about your ribs? Or are you thinking about, oh, I'm going to get that waist tiny, It's all about the muscles and the waist and the fat. But if you think about, I'm going to bend and I'm going to let these ribs on the right squish together, but I'm going to let these ribs on the left open up. It changes everything. It changes how you move. Pain goes away. Your bones can slip back in where they want to be because you've released chronic tightening of muscles. So sometimes when you have chronic tightening, like on one side, like if you're right-handed, you really, so then it kind of shifts the bones around after a while, because it's this big old tight muscle. And if you don't know that, you're like, oh my God, I've got this and I've got this and something's wrong with me. But if you just get on the floor and do these gentle movements and relax and open up and let go and feel your body, magic happens. It's magical. I love it. And I'm a gardener and I'm squatting and up and squatting and digging and I'm thinking about where are my bones. So it's even also like, how you think about people leaning into the wind, like, so it's also where are your bones in space? And when you're walking, are you letting your bones help lead you? Or are you hanging your head and your shoulders so and she's talked about, it's not about sitting up straight and shoulders back and chest up. What our mama's all, pull your shoulders back. That's going against your bones. If you hung a skeleton, he would kind of be forward. If you hung a skeleton, you notice that the shoulders are kind of forward. And the other thing she said is, when you walk, you're going forward. You're not rolled back and going up. Bones should be going forward. You should be going the energy, but it's subtle, but we don't know subtle. Everybody's about no pain, no gain, isolate. It's about isolating. This is not about isolating. Again, the head's connected to the spine, which is connected to the pelvis. When the pelvis moves, the head moves. And when you slow it down and feel it, you'll feel it. It's like, oh my God, if you circle your pelvis, your head will circle. It's subtle. Your ankles circle, your knees circle, every joint circles because it's all connected. But we don't think of it that way because we've been taught. I was taught. I did it back in the 70s. I was taught cram that back into the floor, pull your belly in. That's how you should lay on the floor. That is so wrong. We have this natural arch in our back. You should arch. So another thing, I'll shut up here in a minute, but she talks about when a lion is going to pounce, he sticks his belly out. When you stick your belly out, you're powerful. It's like that makes you stronger. So she even approves it in a movement where you roll and push your belly out and see if you're strong, and then roll and pull your belly in, cram it in, and you'll be weak. It's crazy. So it's so fun. And just like carnivore, it's the opposite of what we've been taught. Total opposite.
It seems to be as you get older and you get more experience, you start to realize that most things are the opposite of what we've been taught. You know,
And
everything is usually turn it upside down and it works better. You know,
And it's sad that our society is teaching us that. Because where did we learn that? Who taught us that? The things that I got most is from my mother, who was very intuitive, just like me, and taught me. She didn't believe in doctors. She didn't go to doctors. They killed her. They killed both my parents. They got caught up in it. They said my dad had cancer. He didn't. He was depressed because his feet hurt because he was in his 50s and he was a big tennis guy and he was probably wasn't eating right. I mean, the things I know now is like, oh my God, they could probably still be here, happy and thriving. But, that he didn't know. My mom was all about feeding her children and feeding her husband and doing the right thing. And so they just what we heard. It's what they said and we believed them. So the good thing is we're not believing them anymore. Nobody in a stupid white coat with a thing on there is, I just am like, I'm running the other way. I'm like, get the hell out of here. I'd rather listen to a damn cow. I'm so against them just because I've seen what they've done to my parents, to so many people. Like, oh, you need this. Yeah, we're going to zap it. Here, we're just going to fry you. We'll see how it shows you how amazing some people live through that crap and they're bad, but it just shows you how strong we are. So let's just keep working on our intuition and our brains and the magic and the amazing powers that we have. Quit listening to that stuff. If I didn't have to, I mean, I so love listening to your things. So I love doing it. So, but it's so much better just to listen to the birds and go out and pull some weeds in your yard and, you know, um, yeah,
I think that's good advice. Is listen to your intuition, listen to your gut. It's like I
see
think,
from people.
yeah,
And also, I want to say
I,
one thing, not pooping every day. There's not a problem with it if you're just eating meat. People think, I got to poop every day. Uh-oh, I didn't poop. I'm like, oh my God, no, you don't. It's absorbed. You're okay. But we did think that. I thought that. And when you eat that salad stuff, it's like, oh my God, I got to poop. You kind of want to. And then it doesn't come out because you're constipated. So then it doesn't come out. So then it's like, now I got to eat a laxative or something, or do an enema. I used to do coffee enemas. I did coffee enemas for like every day for like, well, done it, been there. I've tried it all. I'm
yeah,
not afraid to try it. But I mean, just like when COVID came out and people were jumping, I was like, not no, but hell no, what the hell? I was like, what is in that? I've had people say to me, I don't care. I'm like, really? That's stupid. And I'm stupid in a lot of ways. I am not, like I said, I'm not a brainy. I'm not But I do have an intuition, and when something doesn't feel right, man, I'm like, thank God I have that. I'm just thank God I have that because that's my power. It is my power. I can feel the energy if I go into a room. And that's why I'm good with people because I can feel, I'm like, uh-oh, she's sad. How can I make her happy? I can just feel it, and I just get, if somebody's down or wow, there's good energy in here. I can, and you can feel that too. Everybody can feel that. But I think I'm a little more, but on one end, it's a good thing. But on the other end, I get caught up in people's energies because I'm a sponge. I'm a open. I'm a intuitive. I can feel you. So then it affects me. So I have to learn how to not let other people's stuff get on me and how not to get caught up in that. So it's always a balance. There's always a
Yeah.
balance. But intuition, yes, I think people have become less and less intuitive, and I think being out in nature helps you, and
Mhm.
doing this kind of thing is so, I don't know what it's doing to our bodies, being on
Yeah.
computers and these phones, and
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's we've got to get a little bit of balance back, right? Yeah, I think we've
It's
swung way too far with technology, that we're reliant on it, and it's negatively affecting us, right?
it's a double-edged sword because I mean, look at what you're doing. You are all these interviews, letting all these people tell their story, and it's getting out more and more and more. It's just like, oh my God, it's just gonna, it's just so exciting. As long as they don't shut you down. If they do, we're gonna come after them. Don't you worry. We'll be an army of carnivores, and we're strong, and we'll like beat them up. But that's amazing about it. We can talk to people all over the world and have fun. And I've started doing my little YouTubes, doing exercise classes. I'm like, well, and it's just I have like two people. I'm like, well, I don't care. I really don't. Also, age, wisdom makes you not care anymore. It's sort of like, well, if it helps one person, that's great.
If someone came to you for advice on how to get started with carnivore, what would you say to them?
Do it, do it, do it. Quit being stupid and do it. Research it and do it. Kick in that intuition and get out of you really get out of your head, go into your heart and do it. Don't be stupid. It's the best damn thing ever. I've tried it all and listened to all these people, and it's a no-brainer. I mean, I don't think you should pussyfoot around. Do it. Get rid of your crap, fill your place up with meat, be prepared. That's the only thing I can say, be prepared. Because so for me, if I get hungry, I get weak. So I'll be prepared. Fry you up a whole thing of bacon, have it in the refrigerator. Cook you a couple of hamburgers, have them in the refrigerator. Have your steak thawed and ready to go. I mean, don't ever go out of the house without your food with you, and know that you're going to have diarrhea for 2 weeks. Know that it's going to be a transition. Don't be a baby and do it. Listen to people. That's encouragement. Call me, call Dave, call all these people. There's millions of people now. You can call anyone and say, can you help? And everybody's going to be saying, I'd love to help you. If you want to eat that candy bar, call me. I'll tell you, I'll slap you and say, no, don't do it. Eat a piece of bacon. It's the best thing you can do is eat bacon when you want sugar or crap. Just fill yourself up with bacon. So that's what I
Yeah,
tell
that's good advice. So Bridget, how can people reach out to you? You mentioned a YouTube channel?
Yes, it's Dancing with Life at, I say blissful, but it's BLSFULL. So that's my YouTube, Dancing with Life at Blissful. And Dancing with Life at Gmail is my Gmail, and BLS are my initials. And that's why I was like bliss, and I was like blissful. I just did it.
No, nice. So I'll link to all those below. Bridget,
Thank
thank you so much for coming back on and sharing with us. I really appreciate your time.
So fun. And I just so adore you. And you're doing amazing, amazing stuff. Make sure you're taking care of yourself too. But wow, it's just, I'm just so excited for what you're doing. You're helping the world. It's exciting. Thank you.
And congratulations on your new place.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the move.
I'm so excited. Watch my YouTubes. I'll be doing yoga out on my beautiful little dock with, I have lilies all around, water lilies. It's so fun and birds fly by and it's so fun.